How women secretly judge men in seconds. Stoicism. Most men think women notice confidence first. They're wrong. They notice something much deeper. Character. Before you've even finished introducing yourself. Long before she knows your profession, your income, your ambitions, or your achievements, her mind is already collecting information that most men don't even realize they are revealing. Not through your words, through your presence. Not through your appearance, through your emotional stability. Not through your confidence. Through the way you carry yourself when no one is trying to impress anyone. This is where most men misunderstand attraction. They believe they are being evaluated by what they have. The Stoics believed a man is always evaluated by what he is. There's a reason why some men walk into a room and immediately create a sense of trust, while others spend an entire evening trying to prove themselves and still leave forgotten. The difference is rarely appearance. It is rarely status. It is almost never money. It is the invisible language of character. Women notice it far faster than most men imagine, not because they are searching for perfection, because they are constantly reading emotional signals that reveal whether a man is secure, disciplined, patient, or simply performing a role he hopes others will admire. Marcus Aurelius understood this nearly 2,000 years ago. He never instructed himself to become more impressive. He instructed himself to become more virtuous. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he reminded himself that every new day would bring difficult people and unexpected challenges. His goal was never to control how others perceived him. His goal was to govern his own mind with wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. That changes everything, because the moment a man stops managing appearances and starts governing his character, his entire presence begins to change. His movements become calmer. His words become more deliberate. His silence becomes comfortable. His confidence no longer needs to announce itself. People feel it before they understand it. This video is not about tricks. It is not about manipulation. It is not about learning how to impress women. It is about understanding the silent signals that reveal who you truly are before you ever have the chance to explain yourself. Because every first meeting is a conversation that begins long before anyone speaks. And once you understand what is actually being communicated in those first few seconds, you will never look at human interaction the same way again. The silent interview. Nobody tells you this. Every first meeting is a silent interview. No one says a word about it. No one admits it's happening. Yet within the first few seconds, both people are already gathering information. Women do this instinctively, not because they are being judgmental, because the human mind has always been designed to recognize signs of safety, stability, and character before trust is given. Most men assume this silent evaluation is based on appearance alone. It isn't. Appearance may attract attention. Character determines whether attention remains. Before you've even finished your first sentence, subtle questions are already being answered. Does this man seem comfortable with himself? Can he remain calm without trying to dominate the conversation? Does he listen, or is he simply waiting for his turn to speak? Is he present, or is he desperately trying to create an impression? None of these questions are asked aloud, yet they shape the entire interaction. This is why first impressions often feel so mysterious. People say they have a good feeling or a bad feeling about someone. In reality, they are responding to hundreds of small signals that the conscious mind barely notices. The Stoics understood that every action reflects the condition of the mind behind it. A restless mind produces restless behavior. An impatient mind reveals itself through hurried movements. An insecure mind constantly searches for reassurance. A disciplined mind communicates something entirely different. It never needs to announce its strength. It quietly demonstrates it. Marcus Aurelius believed that a man's first responsibility was not to influence others. It was to govern himself. Because once your inner world becomes ordered, your outer behavior begins to change without effort. You interrupt less. You observe more. You stop reacting to every silence as if it needs to be filled. You become fully engaged with the person in front of you, instead of wondering how you are being perceived. That is what women notice. Not perfection, not rehearsed confidence. Presence. The ability to remain emotionally steady in a moment where many men become anxious. Ironically, the less a man worries about making a good impression, the stronger his presence usually becomes. And that leads to one of the biggest mistakes nervous men make, without ever realizing what they are silently communicating. What nervous men accidentally reveal. Most men believe nervousness is something they can hide. The truth is, they rarely do. Nervousness almost never speaks through words. It speaks through behavior. Trying too hard, talking too much, explaining every opinion, interrupting before someone has finished speaking, laughing louder than the moment requires, constantly searching for agreement. None of these behaviors are the real problem. They are only symptoms. The real message lies underneath. Every action quietly asks the same question. Do you approve of me? That question is never spoken, yet people can feel it. Women especially notice when a man's behavior is driven by the need for validation rather than genuine confidence. The Stoics understood that a man who constantly seeks approval has already surrendered something far more valuable than another person's opinion. He has surrendered authority over himself. Think about the difference. One man enters a conversation hoping to be liked. Another enters simply to know the person standing in front of him. The words may sound almost identical. The energy is completely different. The first man is performing. The second man is present. One speaks to fill silence. The other is comfortable allowing silence to exist. One constantly searches for the perfect thing to say. The other pays attention to what is actually being said. One reacts to every expression, every pause, every small sign of uncertainty. The other remains emotionally grounded because his value does not depend on how the conversation ends. Marcus Aurelius constantly returned to the same discipline throughout meditations. Do not concern yourself with how you appear. Concern yourself with whether your actions reflect wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. That principle changes the entire interaction. Because the moment your goal shifts from seeking approval to practicing virtue, your behavior becomes natural. You stop forcing confidence. You stop chasing admiration. You stop trying to manufacture attraction. Instead, your attention leaves yourself and moves toward the present moment. Ironically, that is when people begin to experience something they cannot easily explain. Authenticity. Women rarely remember every sentence a man speaks. They remember how he made them feel while speaking. Whether he created tension or calm. Whether he demanded attention or quietly deserved it. That silent difference becomes one of the strongest signals a man can communicate. And the Stoics understood that the most powerful signals are often the ones that require no words at all. The Stoic signal. Every man sends signals. The question is not whether you are communicating. The question is what your behavior is saying before your words ever have the chance to. Most people believe communication begins when they speak. The Stoics understood that communication begins much earlier. It begins with how you respond to uncertainty, how you handle silence, how you react when things don't go your way, how comfortable you are with yourself when there is nothing to prove. These are the signals that cannot be faked for long. Anyone can memorize confident phrases. Anyone can learn better posture. Anyone can imitate charisma for a few minutes. Character is different. Character eventually reveals itself through consistency. Marcus Aurelius never tried to project strength. He practiced it in private until it became visible in public. That is why Stoicism has never been about appearance. It has always been about alignment. When your thoughts, your values, and your actions point in the same direction, people sense it immediately. Women notice this far more than most men realize, not because they are analyzing every movement, because authenticity creates a feeling that performance never can. A Stoic man sends different signals without even trying. When someone interrupts him, he does not rush to reclaim attention. When there is an awkward silence, he does not panic to fill it. When another person disagrees with him, he does not become defensive. His calm becomes his language. His patience becomes his confidence. His restraint becomes his strength. The absence of emotional chaos communicates something words never could. This is why genuine confidence often appears so quiet. It has nothing to prove. Think about the men you naturally respect. They are rarely the loudest people in the room. They rarely dominate every conversation. They rarely compete for attention. Instead, they create something much more powerful: stability. People instinctively relax around them because they are emotionally predictable. Their mood is not controlled by compliments. Their identity is not shaken by criticism. Their behavior does not change simply because someone important has entered the room. That emotional consistency becomes a signal of maturity. The Stoics believed that the man who governs himself quietly influences everyone around him, not through force, not through status, through example. That is why the strongest signal you can ever send is not confidence. It is inner stability. Because when your mind becomes steady, your presence begins speaking on your behalf long before you ever open your mouth. And that is exactly why presence will always be more powerful than performance. Why presence beats performance. Most men spend their lives trying to create a better impression. The Stoics spent their lives becoming better men. Those are not the same thing. Performance asks one question: how can I make her like me? Presence asks a completely different one: how can I be fully here? That difference changes everything. The moment your attention becomes focused on yourself, you stop seeing the person in front of you. You begin monitoring every word you say, every pause, every expression, every reaction. Your mind splits into two conversations. One is happening in the room, the other is happening inside your head. That is why performance is exhausting. You are no longer connecting. You are constantly evaluating yourself. The Stoics understood that self-consciousness is often the enemy of presence. Marcus Aurelius never encouraged himself to appear confident. He encouraged himself to act according to reason and virtue. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he prepared himself to meet the world with patience, justice, courage, and self-control. His attention remained on how he should respond, not on how others might judge him. That is the foundation of authentic presence. When your mind is no longer occupied with protecting your image, it becomes available for something far more valuable: curiosity. You begin listening instead of waiting to speak. You observe instead of performing. You ask sincere questions instead of searching for impressive answers. You stop trying to create chemistry. You create genuine connection. Women notice this immediately, not because they are measuring confidence, because presence feels rare. In a world where everyone is trying to be noticed, the man who is fully attentive stands out without making any effort. He's not scanning the room for approval. He's not calculating every sentence. He's not chasing validation. He is simply there, completely engaged, completely calm, completely comfortable. Ironically, that is when confidence becomes most visible, not because it is being displayed, because it no longer needs to be. This is one of Stoicism's greatest lessons. The strongest man in the room is rarely the one demanding attention. He is the one whose peace is independent of it. That kind of presence cannot be learned from clever techniques. It grows from daily discipline, from knowing yourself so well that you no longer feel the need to perform for anyone else. And when a man reaches that point, something extraordinary begins to happen. People leave his presence feeling different, calmer, safer, more at ease. The Stoics would say that this is the true influence of character, not what you make people think, but what you quietly make them feel. That invisible effect is more powerful than most men will ever realize, and it reveals one final truth that separates ordinary men from unforgettable ones: the power of emotional gravity. Have you ever noticed how certain people change the atmosphere of a room without saying very much? Some people arrive carrying tension. Within minutes, everyone feels restless. The conversation becomes rushed. Silence feels uncomfortable. Small problems suddenly seem bigger than they really are. Other people have the opposite effect. They don't dominate the room. They don't try to become the center of attention. Yet somehow, people feel calmer simply because they are there. The Stoics understood this long before psychology ever explained it. Your inner state never remains private. It spreads. Just as fear can move through a crowd, so can calm. Just as anxiety becomes contagious, so does emotional stability. Marcus Aurelius knew that every person influences those around them, whether they intend to or not. That is why, in Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he reminded himself each morning to govern his own mind before attempting to deal with anyone else. He understood a simple truth: you cannot bring peace into a room if your own mind is filled with conflict. This is what I call emotional gravity. Every person creates an emotional pull. Some pull others toward chaos. Others pull them toward clarity. Women notice this almost immediately, not because they consciously analyze it, because they experience it. Think back to the people who have left the strongest impression on your life. Was it because they spoke the most, or because you felt completely at ease around them? Real presence has very little to do with entertainment. It has everything to do with emotional consistency. A Stoic man does not absorb every emotion around him. He becomes an anchor instead. When others panic, he slows down. When others react, he observes. When others seek attention, he remains centered. His calm gives other people permission to become calm as well. That is a form of strength no expensive suit, impressive career, or clever conversation can ever replace. Ask yourself one honest question. When people walk away after spending time with you, do they feel lighter or heavier? Do they leave feeling understood or judged? Do they leave feeling peaceful or emotionally exhausted? Your answer reveals far more about your character than any first impression ever could. Because people may forget the details of a conversation. They rarely forget how someone's presence made them feel. And once you understand that, you also understand why chasing approval is one of the fastest ways to lose the quiet power that makes genuine respect possible. The approval trap. There is one habit that quietly destroys a man's presence before he even realizes it. The need for approval. It rarely announces itself. It hides behind politeness. It disguises itself as kindness. It pretends to be confidence. But beneath every attempt to gain approval lies the same fear. What if I'm not enough? The Stoics understood that the moment your peace depends on another person's opinion, your freedom no longer belongs to you. Think about how many decisions people make every day simply to avoid rejection. They change the way they speak. They soften their opinions. They laugh when nothing is funny. They agree when they actually disagree. Not because they are dishonest, because they are afraid of losing acceptance. Every one of those small compromises sends a silent message. I need you to validate who I am. That message is almost impossible to hide. Women sense it without needing to explain why. Not because they are searching for perfection, because insecurity always asks for something. It asks for reassurance, attention, confirmation. A Stoic man asks for none of those things, not because he believes he is superior, because his worth was never built upon another person's approval. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that another person's judgment belongs to them, not to you. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he prepared himself to meet criticism with reason rather than emotion. He understood that character remains the same whether it is praised or condemned. That is true freedom. Imagine two men having the same conversation. One is secretly hoping to be accepted. The other is simply being honest. Their words may sound almost identical. Their energy is completely different. The first man is negotiating for approval. The second man is expressing his character. One leaves the conversation wondering, did she like me? The other leaves asking, was I true to my principles? Only one of those questions creates lasting confidence. The more desperately a man chases approval, the more he quietly communicates that he has not yet approved of himself. The Stoics offered a different path. Build a character that earns your own respect first. Everything else becomes secondary. Ironically, this is the moment when other people's respect often begins to appear naturally. Because genuine confidence is never created by being admired. It is created by becoming the same man, whether people applaud you or ignore you. That is the kind of strength women recognize immediately. Not because it demands attention, because it never needs to. And once a man reaches that point, he discovers that the greatest first impression is not created by trying to impress anyone at all. It is created by becoming the kind of man who no longer needs to. Become the man who doesn't need to impress. Every man reaches a moment when he must decide what kind of life he wants to live. One path is built on performance. The other is built on character. The first man spends his life asking how he can appear more confident. The second spends his life becoming more disciplined. The first hopes people will admire him. The second hopes his actions remain worthy of his own respect. At first, these paths seem almost identical. Years later, they produce completely different men. The man who depends on admiration is never at peace. Every conversation becomes a test. Every disagreement feels like rejection. Every silence creates anxiety. His confidence rises and falls according to how other people respond to him. The Stoic chooses another foundation. His identity is built on principles that no opinion can change. He knows who he is before entering the room. That is why he does not need to convince anyone else. Marcus Aurelius never measured his worth by applause, popularity, or recognition. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he reminded himself that his duty was to govern his own mind and act with virtue, regardless of how others behaved around him. That lesson remains just as powerful today. Because the men who leave the strongest impression are rarely trying to leave one. They are simply living according to values that remain consistent wherever they go. They are patient when patience is difficult, respectful when respect is not returned, calm when others become emotional, honest when pretending would be easier. Their character does not change according to the audience, and that consistency becomes unforgettable. Women notice it, men respect it, friends trust it. not because it is performed, because it is real. That is the quiet power Stoicism has always offered. Not techniques for attracting people, not strategies for gaining approval, but a way of living that makes external validation unnecessary. When you stop trying to impress people, something remarkable happens. Your attention returns to your own actions, your own standards, your own discipline, your own integrity. Instead of asking, "How do they see me?" you begin asking, "Am I becoming the man I said I would become?" That question changes every interaction, because the strongest presence in any room belongs to the man who has already found peace within himself. And once that happens, respect is no longer something he pursues. It becomes something that quietly follows him. Tomorrow, you will meet people who know nothing about you. They will not know your past. They will not know your achievements. They will not know your struggles. Yet within moments, they will begin forming an impression, not because they are judging your success, because they are reading your character. They will notice how you carry yourself, how you listen, how you respond when something unexpected happens, how comfortable you are with silence, how you treat people who have nothing to offer you. These are the moments that reveal who you are far more honestly than any story you could ever tell. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius never tried to become memorable. He tried to become virtuous. In Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 2, Paragraph 1, he reminded himself that every day offered a new opportunity to practice wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. He understood that a man's reputation is only the shadow of his character. Character always comes first. Everything else follows. That is why Stoicism has never been about impressing people. It has always been about mastering yourself, because once a man governs his own thoughts, emotions, and actions, something remarkable happens. His confidence no longer depends on attention. His peace no longer depends on approval. His presence no longer depends on performance. Tomorrow, when you meet the next woman, remember this. She will notice things you never mention. Not your salary, not your car, not your achievements. She will notice whether your mind is calm, whether your actions match your words, whether your confidence is quiet or manufactured, whether your character remains steady when there is nothing to gain. Because character has a language, and it speaks long before words ever do. Become the man who is patient when others are impatient, calm when others become emotional, honest when pretending would be easier, disciplined when excuses are available, not because someone is watching, because that is who you have chosen to become. Ironically, the man who no longer worries about making a powerful first impression often leaves the strongest impression of all. If this message challenged the way you think about confidence, respect, and first impressions, subscribe to the Discipline Code. Every week, we explore timeless Stoic wisdom to help modern men build discipline, emotional resilience, quiet confidence, and unshakable character. Because the greatest thing anyone will ever notice about you will never be what you own. It will always be who you are.